Hey, Quants, welcome back. We are going to be doing the typical BTC analysis today. Before I get into that, I just wanted to mention that there is a sale going on for the Black Friday sale. If you follow Crown's channel, you probably are already aware of that. He's been talking about it for a few days, but we don't have the sales badge on all of these. I probably should go and update that, but I'm not sure if it's worth it at this point because we're going to be stopping the sale at the end of today, I believe. So I just wanted to give a quick heads up to anybody who's interested in trying out these programs. Of course, we always offer a 7-day free trial, but you can go ahead and lock in the 20% price, sales price or whatever today if you want to go ahead and try those products out. So the link for this website is down in the description. If you do have questions about this, I also wanted to note that we do have a little AI bot here. My head is somewhat in the way, but down in the corner here, you can still kind of see the button. You click on that. If you come to the website, it'll pop up right away anyways. And you can ask the chat here about any of these particular programs. If you have questions or you're curious if they're a good fit for you. Eric also does, or Crown does a pretty good job of going over these on some of his other videos, so you could also search for those videos, but it's probably just going to be more efficient to come here and check out that AI and ask it questions if you would like to try one of these out with the sales price that we are currently offering on these products. So going back to BTC, the last video that I was showing, I mentioned that we were seeing a decent uptrend. I was waiting for a break of this current pivot high in Gann terms, and so we did get that on the 2-day bar, and so price went a little bit higher. Over the last couple of days, we've seen price decline. I'm just going to turn on the volume here, and so we can see volume has been declining as price was increasing, so that's generally not a good idea, but I would say at the same time, on these last 2 declines, we've also seen declining volume on the sales. So not really anything definitive coming out of that, in my opinion. Price as it stands is still structurally moving up for the short term, and my expectation is that it will continue to do that for a little while, although it doesn't feel good when Bitcoin's under $90,000, considering it spent so much time up over 100,000. Not that it was years or anything like that, but it did spend quite a bit of time up over $100,000 for a fairly extended period of time. Let's see, that was May, so probably about half of the year at least, so 6 months. With that said, in the context of the trend strategy, everything is still bearish. So as I mentioned before, this is basically a counter trend play. Excuse me. And so this counter trend play is we'd be looking for a touch of the 200s. Nothing on the higher time frames here kind of indicating anything bullish in terms of like a bullish divergence or anything like that. Stochastics are kind of cooling off a little bit, and so what I might expect here is a little bit of a bullish reset. And what I mean by that is maybe see stochastics kind of cool off a little bit as price kind of trends or stays sideways or just moves down slightly here. The big things that I'd be looking for is a break of these lows right here, in which case it would just be a continuation of the downtrend. So with that said, the trend is still sitting in a trending down. If you're using the 2-bar analysis, I'm going to turn on. You can see the 1-bar analysis for Gann, it's actually up. And so if I go ahead and turn that on, I have it turned on for the trend, but if I want to show the swing line, this is going to be a green line here that'll pop up. You can see what happened here is we have the low. That chart's in the way now, or that little box is in the way, but we had the low, we had a high, we had a higher low, and then we had a higher high. And so it was at this point when this candle broke this previous high, it set in an uptrend on the 1-day. So as with anything, we would expect the lower time frames in this case, well, even though we're looking at the same time frames, It's similar in the sense of speed, that we would expect the 1 bar to react faster than the 2 bar. And so that's one of the reasons I personally like to look at the 2 bar, because I just like the slower pace of that. However, I still like to know the trend of the 1 bar. And so with that turning up, the expectation is that the 2 bar would follow. Of course, there's no guarantees. As I mentioned, if this breaks down below this, then that's going to essentially, that's going to make the trend for the 1 bar undefined at that point, and we'd be waiting to see if it sets in a downtrend, and that would also negate the potential for a 2 bar trend, uptrend forming at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, just based on how so it's just based back to how I typically use it. Again, and then the other thing I mentioned was that we were going to get that bullish moon print. We got that yesterday. And it looks so far like that is not really helping out. Not that that obviously is like going to pressure price one way or the other. Just statistically, if you run a trade against that, you will see that more often than not it does play out. It's not a super high percentage, but when it does play out, one of the things that you'll note with that is that you win more than you lose. And so even though it's not much more than 50%, I can't remember the exact stats, it's close to 50%. But since you're winning winning more than you're losing, that works out as a successful strategy. So nothing really new about, I guess nothing too definitive about price right now, other than it looks like we're seeing that short-term upwards trend continue. Even though price is currently down, it hasn't changed that direction at all. And so I'm still continuing, I still have an upwards bias right now. And that will be it for today. I did mention in the past that I would probably do some gaming. I think I mentioned this on the other video. I think I have it dialed in so that I can record stuff. So I'm not exactly sure how those recordings are going to go. So I am likely going to just do a real quick game session and throw that out today as well, just as like a fun side thing to do as well. So if you're interested in seeing that, stay tuned to the channel. There will be another post about that, provided the recording works out as well as it did when I was testing it in the past. So that is it for today. All right, peace out. Peace, quants.